This is the 23rd lesson in a big series where I'm teaching deep dive tutorials on the top 25 jazz standards for guitar players. There's a link to a playlist of this entire series in the description. The song we're learning today is My Funny Valentine. If you're here to just learn the chords or just learn the melody or you're just looking for tab, just use the timestamp links in the description to go to the section that you're looking for. We cover all of that stuff. Here's what we're going to cover in this lesson. I'll tell you about the song. I'll play the melody with tab on the screen for you. I'll show you two versions of the chords you can play. I'll teach you the scales you can use to improvise over the whole progression, all with demonstrations and scale diagrams on the screen. And every lesson in this series includes a unique piece of advice for how to truly internalize a jazz standard on the guitar, so I will share that. And lastly, I'll give you a guitar listening recommendation for this song. You can access and download all of the learning resources from this whole lesson series and from other lessons on my channel by becoming a premium supporter. There's a link in the top of the description to join. You'll get PDFs of the chord progression lead sheet, the scale breakdown sheets for soloing, the scale diagrams, the chord shape diagrams, and a custom-made backing track with me comping. You'll get everything except for the melody and the tabs of the melody because this song is not in the public domain, but you can easily learn the melody from this video. That's why I demonstrated it so clearly the way that I do. Just use the link in the top of the description to join and support and get all of those extra resources, or go to soundguitarlessons.com/join. My Funny Valentine was composed by Richard Rodgers and Lawrence Hart in 1937 for the musical Babes in Arms. It became one of the most performed and recorded ballads in jazz history, even branching into popular music with artists like Elvis Costello, Marvin Gaye, and Seal recording versions of it. Known for its haunting melody and subtle shifting harmony, it's been recorded by legends like Chet Baker, Miles Davis, and Ella Fitzgerald, and it remains a favorite today. Let's jump in and learn the melody to My Funny Valentine. Now I'll play you the melody with guitar tab and notation on the screen. I encourage you to practice along with this demonstration as you are working on the melody. Here it is. Now I'll play you two different versions of the chord shapes for this tune. I'll play you each chord once each time a chord changes, and I'll show you the chord shape diagrams on the screen as I play them. I encourage you to practice along with these demonstrations as you're working on getting the chords down. First, I'll play you the chords using the simplest chord shapes possible. These are often called shell voicings, and they are widely used in jazz. Here's that demonstration. Now I'll play you the more common jazz guitar chord shapes for this tune. These have an extra note in them and they fill out the sound a little more. Here's that demonstration. Next, I will show you the scale options that you need to be able to improvise and solo over the entire chord progression of this tune. I will demonstrate and show diagrams of the scale forms on the screen, and we will do an analysis and talk about them, and I'll demonstrate improvising with them as well, all in one specific overlapping position on the fretboard let's go into that. So here's our complete scale sheet for My Funny Valentine. Let's just go through and look at what are the scales that the chords come from, and then we'll do a simplified version, and it's going to be an absolute treat. Little teaser there. The simplified version of this is so simple. It's so simple. That's my little hint, and then it's going to be fun to work on that. But for the complete ones, it's a theoretical exercise to say, you know, what every chord implies a collection of notes, which is the scale. What are those scales? What does it actually come from? So, okay, well, we're in C minor, so this is the C natural minor scale. This is naturally in that key, so this would be the flat 6 major chord of C minor. Great, that's all in there. This then is the 5 chord. And by the way, this chord progression is interpreted in many different ways, and this version of it I took from Miles Davis's classic version. So it's harmonized in a lot of different ways. I like this harmonization of it. I like these chords of it. And you'll see a version where you have a C minor, then C minor major 7, and then C minor 7. That movement, which we're going to do on another tune in this series very soon. Classic kind of Stairway to Heaven kind of inner motion of a chord change. Just wanted to point that out while we're looking at this. So this 5 chord here, it goes out of the natural minor. It has to, because it's creating tension. It's borrowing from the harmonic minor there, and that's the point of it. So during right there, that is harmonic minor, which means that you have a major 7. You have a note that is a half step below the root of C that is the leading tone leading back to it. So then we have C natural minor again, and then F7. Well, that's just the 5 chord of the B flat major scale. So we just can play B flat major. You can also think of it as F mixolydian. Doesn't matter. Same collection of notes, whatever works. That is not in the key of C natural minor. So we have to, think of it as its own thing there. And then this again is that flat 6 major chord from C natural minor. So very much C natural minor there, which is nice. This is like a Lydian scale. If you played it as a mode, it would be A flat Lydian. It's just a major scale off of A flat with a sharp 4 in the scale. Really cool sound, and that sharp 4 is a distinct part of the melody during this too, so you really hear that in this song. Then we have a minor 2-5 going into F, so this has to be F harmonic minor, minor 2-5 in the key of F minor, so F harmonic minor is there, and then C natural minor, because this is where, early on trying to analyze what are all the scales that chords come from, that people will think too much as isolated chords, like, oh, it went 2-5 to F minor. Now we're in F minor, so now it's F natural minor, right? So that's a common interpretation of this kind of thing. But no, we want to think of it as the whole context. This went 2-5 into the 4 chord of the key. F minor is the 4 chord naturally in C natural minor. So we are back in C natural minor. So always think in the parent or key center of the entire tune to analyze and say, oh, instead of just like in total isolation mode, this is F minor, so therefore F minor scale, did we tonicize, which is creating tension towards some other chord in the key? Did we tonicize something that's actually in the key? Great, that's the 4 chord. Now we're in C natural minor. So C natural minor is there, and it sounds great. And now we have a 2-5 back to just C minor. So C harmonic minor and then C natural minor. That's such a common thing in any minor key tune. You're going to have the natural minor if it's a minor key song, and you're going to have the harmonic minor that causes tension back to it. So here we are just repeating that same stuff that we already saw, so nothing to worry about there. This is supposed to tell us right here, because this is supposed to be our full analysis. Well, if you've watched any of the other videos in this series, hopefully you know this by now, but this right here with the flat 9 added turns it into not E flat major, but E flat harmonic minor. So it's, yes, the 2 chord of E flat major, the 5 chord of E flat major, the 5 chord borrowing from E flat harmonic minor, which just adds a little extra tension. This chord is actually supposed to have a parentheses around it. You can play it or not play it. It sometimes is, sometimes isn't. You can actually do that anytime on a 5 chord to just add some tension. And you can ignore that, but we're going to get to that in our simplified scales in a second instead. So that is supposed to say E flat harmonic minor right there, and then very nice touch to do harmonic minor into major, and this is a lovely major section here. It kind of sounds like the 1 chord, 2 chord, 3 chord, 2 chord, 1 chord, 2 chord, so kind of going up and down 1 2 3 2 1 of the chords, and just with this major scale, beautiful little section there, and then E flat major, And now we have all these busy chords, which I do not think of scales changing each time the chord changes. I'm just thinking of this as all leading to A flat major, even though this is our complete scales sheet. And I've said many times, this is not right, it's not wrong. It's just, my analysis, and theory is theory because multiple people can think different ways on the same song, right? These aren't facts, it's theory. So I'm thinking of this very much as a 3 chord of A flat, and then a 2 chord of A flat, and then A flat. So it's kind of like 3, 6, 2, 5, 1 of A flat. I mean, it's very much 3, 6, 2, 5, 1 of A flat. It's just that these are substitutions. 3, 6 substitution, 3, 6, 2, 5 substitution of 5, and A flat. So you could actually play this all in A flat just fine. You just have these substitutions. So what does that mean? It means if you're just playing A flat major through all of that, these substitution chords sound great because it just sounds like you're supporting it with something just more interesting and weird behind it, and it doesn't need to be addressed perfectly. Addressing it perfectly is fun, and the way I would do that is with chord tones, not with thinking of the scale collection. So I'd think of the scale as this, and then sometimes hit chord tones of these chords. And a mixture of those things is kind of what's going on, at least for how I approach it and how I recommend you work on it. Okay, minor 2-5 into C minor, and then we just have all this business that we've seen before. Pretty straightforward stuff here. Minor 2-5 into C minor, and then we have a B7, which I am interpreting as coming from B Lydian dominant, Mixolydian scale with a sharp 11, which is very cool sounding. And then we just have a 2-5 into A flat, and that actually is all E flat major because this is the 4 chord of E flat major. And this is what I talked about before. 2-5, not into A flat major, 2-5 tonicizing the 4 chord of E flat major. E flat major is the relative major of C natural minor. So this is really in E flat major or in C natural minor, depending on how you want to think of it, but it ends and lands on E flat. So it's very much technically in E flat major, not C minor, but it has such a dark minor sound for a big portion of it. You can think of it that way too. So that's our analysis. Don't let it overwhelm you because the simplified version is going to be so fun. It feels like a lot, but check it out. You'll see what I mean. First, I'll demonstrate all these scales on the guitar with diagrams so you can see them, and then I'll demonstrate improvising with these so you can hear the precise version of improvising with all those scales as they change. Then we'll move on from there. So here are the scale shapes, the scale diagrams for you for all the scales that all those chords come from. Here is C natural minor. Here is C harmonic minor. I'll sometimes play the whole form like that, sometimes stop on the roots. If you need to ground yourself with where the roots are, then do the thing where you stop on all the roots. Always make sure that you kind of play around. Play around with every scale too, and make sure you can just noodle, improvise, and really just see it so clearly. It's not just only about going up and down. This segment of the lessons is just to mainly give you the scale shape on the screen and demonstrate so you can hear it and see it. And I know I'm going fast sometimes, but just so you can soak it in and hear it and see it, so then you can work on it for yourself. Here's B flat major. Here is F harmonic minor. Here is F major. Next is E flat major. I hope it's obvious that as you do these, when it's hard for you, you're really working on every song that's ever going to use it. So E flat major is going to be in, so many other songs. And so you work on it in this one place. And when it comes up in that spot, you're going to have it more down every time you work on it for one song. So don't just beat your head, against the wall thinking this song is so hard. You're really working on your skill to play any song and play music in general. That's the good stuff. That's what I like to work on. Here's A flat major scale. Here is the B Lydian dominant scale. This is the same as F sharp melodic minor. It's the fourth mode of melodic minor. Really odd sound there. I'll play that one again. Very cool scale. Those are all the scales that the chords come from. I will now demonstrate improvising with them through the progression. Something special was coming up for the simplified version of this. Sometimes this happens, even with all the busyness, all the harmonic change, all the awesome tension that is happening in this tune. The simplified version of the scales is really just all C natural minor or all E flat major. Those are the exact same scale, same collection of notes. And it is amazing how tastefully and how effectively you can play over this entire tune with all that stuff going on harmonically. All these chords changing, and we had plenty to say in the complete scales analysis. Well, it really all is just C natural minor or E flat major, right? It's really C natural minor during this stuff, and then I'm thinking obviously E flat major when it's landing more on the E flat chord. All the same collection of notes though, and I will demonstrate this for you so you can really hear, oh yeah, that really does work, and you can follow your ear just in that scale. And you can, hopefully play around with being a little chromatic in that scale, playing some outside notes, but just thinking in that scale. And it's a blessing and a curse, because if you play all in one scale, what's going to happen to most of us, unless we do a certain kind of work up front, is then we just completely lose where we are in the tune. Having to follow all those scale changes, key changes, chord tones, often that is a crutch that helps us know where we are in the song. But we want to know where we are in the song because of the melody, because of the form and the feel of it overall. So if you know the melody well enough and you can kind of follow that, not just in your playing, you can follow it in your playing a little bit, which is nice, but just in your mind, you can't help but hear where the melody is based on where the harmony is. That is the ideal thing. Then you can truly play by ear, even with a simple scale like this, the entire time. So with the simplified scales, I like to think, is there anything that we can't ignore? Like, do we have to move to another key? And the answer here is no. It's not that common that we get a tune that has so much going on that we can do this with. So it's just lovely to be able to do this. This G7, the principle behind this is that there's only one note different from this, the scale that this comes from versus this C natural minor scale. So one note different. And even if you play that one note that's quote unquote wrong there, if you're playing something that has melodic, it has like melodic, its own identity to it, right? It has some sort of momentum melodically that wins over the harmony. Then it sounds like the harmony is just doing something kind of cool underneath it, right? So you really have to play tastefully. You can't just sound like a scale. You're playing with a scale, but you can't just sound like a scale. So it's an amazing exercise for all of these reasons to try to do this. I think our goal should be, can we play a complete version of the song before worrying about all of those other details? Can you just play through it? Could you play it at a gig tonight if you had to? Then for years, you can work on outlining the chord tones and doing enclosures and doing all the key changes and all that stuff. That should be our goal with every single song. And it's just more rewarding that way. Then when you work on the complex stuff, you have a place to put it because you're already playing real music. So let's just demonstrate this, okay? I'll demonstrate playing just all with that one scale throughout this whole progression. Here's your internalization tip for this lesson. Of course, we're going to do it on My Funny Valentine, but just do it on any tune ever. It's going to be really hard. So put it on your bucket list if you need to do that. You got to be able to play chord tones through the progression first, and then we want to sing the melody at the same time as doing that. Oh, this is so good. Oh, the harder it is, the better you're getting as a musician. So don't shy away from really difficult stuff and take baby steps towards it if you need to. So here's a little demonstration of that. I'm going to play chord tones and sing the melody. Very hard to do. Do the first phrase or so here. So it's hard for me, and I just try to do it at least even roughly. I could definitely have better intonation. You could probably sing it better than I can, because I really struggle with that. But I've worked a lot on the chord tone improvisation, so maybe yours is the other way around. It's just phenomenal to work on that. So keep it in mind, give it a shot, have it on your list of things to do on a tune, and you will benefit greatly from it. I'll give you my guitar listening recommendation for this tune in 1 second, but first, you can access and download the learning resources from this whole lesson series and from my other lessons on YouTube by becoming a premium supporter. You'll get PDFs of the chord progression lead sheets, the scale breakdown sheets where we analyzed all the scales for soloing, you'll get the scale diagrams, you'll get the chord shape diagrams, and a custom-made backing track with me comping. You'll get everything except for the melody and the melody tabs, because this tune and many of the tunes on the list are not in the public domain. When a song is in the public domain, I'll provide all of that. But for the rest of them, you can easily learn the melody from this video and from the videos in the series. That's why I demonstrated them so clearly like that. Just use the link in the top of the description to join and support and get all of those extra resources, or go to soundguitarlessons.com/join. If you want a jazz guitar listening recommendation for My Funny Valentine, I recommend listening to Bill Evans and Jim Hall, their duo album called Undercurrent. It's a great album, one of my favorite jazz albums of all time, and their version of My Funny Valentine on it is fantastic. A little more up-tempo than most renditions, but I can't help but recommend that, and Jim Hall is just a fantastic guitar player. There's a link to a playlist of all of my listening recommendations in the description, so make sure you listen to that or some other version that you like when you're working on this song, because it makes a big difference. And make sure you're subscribed, because I can't wait to see you in my next lesson. I put out a lesson every single Tuesday. We have a few more in this series coming up, and I have a bunch of other great lessons in the queue as well. Hit that like button and leave a comment to let me know if you liked this lesson. It really makes a difference and it helps the video reach more people. Check out the description for all the links I've mentioned and for how you can support the channel. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for watching. Take care and happy practicing.